Every day, there is temptation to buy stuff, especially as you're scrolling social media. And I'm guilty of this too because I have definitely been influenced at times. And it's not necessarily always a bad thing, but it can go overboard. So sometimes we have to take a step back and make sure that we're not allowing the influence to control our lives. So here's a look at a few simple things that you can do to de-influence your life. Number one, take charge of your feed by unfollowing accounts that push constant consumption and materialism. And I know that this content can be entertaining and interesting, and some people are able to watch it for what it is and just have fun with it. But you really have to know yourself and be honest with what you can and cannot handle. There's always going to be some cool product out there that can make your life easier or more enjoyable, but it's all about balance. And if you're not sure if you have a problem, just take a few moments and think about your most recent purchases. So in other words, how much have you bought over the past few weeks or months, and how many of those purchases were a direct result of something that you saw on social media? And it's something to really think about because you might not even realize how much you're actually being influenced. And as an alternative, consider following accounts that promote the opposite. So to cut down on buying stuff that you probably don't need, try watching videos about minimalism and decluttering. I promise you, it will be a mindset shift that can seriously change how you think about things. These videos show you how having less stuff could actually make you happier, and they can teach you how to appreciate what you already have, which can slowly start reducing that desire to always have more. It's like a mental refresh for the brain, which can help you break free from the thought that having more equals more happiness. Also, to manage your time better and avoid getting sucked into buying stuff you see on social media, you can try setting daily or weekly limits. And this might not sound like a big deal, but it can make a difference. Deciding how much time you're okay spending on social media each day or week is an excellent way to regain control. This simple move helps you break free from endless scrolling, which allows you to use your time for things that really matter. Plus, it can reduce your exposure to ads. So what you're basically doing here is setting a boundary for your online life. And you might even be surprised by how much more that you're able to get done and how relaxed you feel when you're not constantly glued to your feed. You should also unsubscribe from promotional emails. And this is a really small action, but it can have a really big impact. Those emails can flood your inbox with tempting deals, which can make it hard to resist buying things that you might not really need. But by unsubscribing, you're able to control what shows up in your inbox. So you're essentially decluttering your email space and creating a more intentional, focused environment. Because once you're able to remove that constant flow of offers, you're less likely to make impulse purchases. And if you don't want to unsubscribe to everything, one tip that might work is to create a separate email that's specifically for those offers, where you'll send everything there and then only check it when you're ready to buy something. It also helps to practice delayed gratification. Now, at times you might come across something on social media that will actually make sense in your life. But even in cases like this, instead of immediately clicking buy, what you want to do is pause and give yourself a day to think about it. So in other words, save the post and then walk away from your device and do something else. This waiting period allows you to weigh the pros and cons, plus you're able to see how you really feel about the item. Because if after 24 hours you've completely forgotten about this purchase, that means that you probably didn't want it that badly and you just saved yourself from an unnecessary purchase. Also, set a strict budget for discretionary spending. And so that we're clear, this video is not suggesting that you should never buy anything that you see online. The goal here is to stop overconsumption, and one way to do this is to give yourself a specific dollar amount that you will allow yourself to spend on non-essentials each month, which includes things that you might see advertised online. And this budget will serve as your guide and help you stop overspending on things that you want but don't technically need. And finally, to avoid buying too much, it's key that you know what you truly need versus what you simply want. Needs include those must-haves for survival, like food, basic clothing, and a safe place to live. Wants, on the other hand, are those extras, like moving into a luxury apartment, eating out, gadgets, or designer clothes. And not everyone understands the difference between the two, which likely explains why some people will overspend and get themselves into trouble. So to help you figure out if something is actually a need as opposed to a want, ask yourself, do I absolutely need this item to live? And if you don't, that means it's a want. And another helpful tip to help you gauge this is that if you're using the 24-hour rule and you realize that after 24 hours, your desire to buy something fades or you're no longer thinking about it, there's a good chance that that item is actually a want.